Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're here again in the beta for Battle for Azeroth. I am Josh1, welcome. Uh, we're looking at Blood Death Knights, looking at the leveling the talent, a little bit of the talents and the abilities. And once I go through the stuff and I'll give you my thoughts on the talent and the spec itself. First, before we go through the talent stuff, I wanted to just put out there the Dancing Rune weapon has had down to a 2-minute cooldown, which if you've had the legendary and stuff on live, you're used to about this amount of time cooldown on it. So this is a really nice change. I'm glad they did that. Okay, now on to the talents. In the first row, this is what I'm having. This is actually quite different than what is on live right now, so I was really happy to get in here and be able to test all this stuff out. And actually, it makes it a lot of fun, I think, to level. As always, tanks are really, I think most tanks are really good to level. You can just go in, pull a lot of stuff, kill everything. You got huge mobs of NPCs trying to kill you, and you can just sit there and just wail away and sit there all day and be like, while and just killing them. It's great. I love it. And you can especially do it with this because they have some really OP stuff. I would not be surprised if some of the stuff gets slightly adjusted number wise on some of the stuff it does. But I'll get into that when I go over some of the stuff. First off, in the first row we have Heartbreaker, which Heartstrike makes Heartstrike generate 2 extra rune power per target hit. Then we have Blood Drinker, which is channeled and hasn't really changed that much from live. Both of these are rather nice, but Rune Strike I think is the go-to for. Actually, I think it's going to be a go-to for most everything except maybe Mythic Plus and raids and stuff where you might need the extra health from the target or something, but I think for most part everybody's going to be having Rune Strike in their build. It's on a 1-minute recharge. It strikes the target for a little over 1500 physical damage, and the cooldown for it is reduced by 1 second for every rune you spend, and it generates 1 rune and has a max of 2 charges. This is really nice because since we lost a lot of we lost some of the components on other spells and abilities that let us generate runes faster and stuff. This is a really nice change, so I'm glad to see this in here. And I am currently running. It runs really well. We don't get too rune starved where we're just sitting around and just auto attacking throughout. So this is actually nice, at least so far. I don't know how it will be later on. Once our stats start going down, as you level, the higher level you go, usually, you need more of one stat to make it go up. So like haste, you'll need more haste and stuff like that. In the 57 row, we have Rapid Decomposition. It makes your Blood Plague and Death and Decay deal 15% more damage more often. Or they deal damage 15% more often, I should say. I have found while leveling and just doing quests and stuff, this it's not all that great. I much prefer the next one, which is Hemostasis, which each enemy hit by your blood boil increases the damage and healing done by your next death strike by 10%, and it stacks up to 5 times. This is, Death Strike already, as you can see, Death Strike does about 2100 damage already, and 50% more when it just stacks up to 5 times. Especially because in large groups you just hit 1 blood boil and you've got the extra damage and healing to Death Strike. It's ridiculous. It hits like a truck. It's great. Consumption is back. They removed the leech part of it. And it's on a 45-second cooldown. It strikes all enemy in front of you with the attack. You know, a little over 1,000 physical damage, and heals you for 100% of that damage. Now this is nice, but since Death Strike already heals you for so much, and with the other talent stuff we'll talk about at the end there with Bone Storm, I feel that this passive, I think Hemostasis is the go-to. I just think it does a lot better. Um, I do not, I actually don't see a reason to use this at all because it just doesn't make sense. I think you'll get more mileage out of Hemostasis you would consumption or the rapid decomposition. In the next row, we have Will and Necropolis, which taking damage below 30% health is reduced by 30%, which is quite nice. I'm running Anti-Magic Barrier, which reduces the cooldown of Anti-Magic Shell by 15 seconds and increases its duration and amount it's absorbed by 30%. This works really well because Anti-Magic Barrier generates runic power and gives you an absorb and everything else. It's ridiculous, especially there's quite a few casters and stuff that do magical damage, mobs and stuff when you run around leveling and just out in the world and stuff. It does great. I love it. Can't wait to use it more. Now in the video and stuff, I actually went through and I did not use. I think I only used my defensive cooldowns one time because I just wanted to see how how much health and stuff I could get back and how much damage they could do to me and everything else, and it's ridiculous. It's great. Next up we have Rune Tap, which costs 1 rune, so on a 25-second recharge, and it reduces all damage you take by 30% for 4 seconds, and you have max of 2 charges. I think for leveling, I do think Anti-Magic Barrier is just the best overall of this row. Even in dungeons and stuff, I don't see anybody taking Rune Tap or Will right now over the Anti-Magic Barrier. I think its uses that far outweigh any, or is better. I think the uses that far outweigh any advantage. Rune Tap, the extra 30% damage by 4 seconds, with all the other stuff. All the other defensive cooldowns and stuff you have at your disposal, which as a freaking Death Knight you have a ton. I just don't think see people using it. In the next row, level 60, we have Tightening Grasp, which reduces the cooldown of Gorfing Grasp by 30 seconds. We have Grip of the Dead. Death and Decay reduces the movement speed of enemies within its area by 90%, and it decays by 10% every second. Now, I'm running this because, honestly, a 2-minute cooldown on Gorfing Grasp is ridiculous, and but having just the movement in case I do get in trouble or I need to go grab some more mobs or something. It's always nice to have the NPCs moving slower. Next up we have Wraithwalk. For some reason it's a talent now instead of I don't understand why it's not baseline, but I mean we have Death's Advance now, so which is nice, but we should be able to keep Wraithwalk too. The 1 minute cooldown is I'm not happy. I hope they change this. But it sidesteps and shadows, removes all your root effects, and increases your movement speed by 70% for 4 seconds. Now this is changed from live. It's not where you just automatically can move and you move forward. You just hit it and you can actually you just move, jump, do whatever you need to do. And while active, your movement speed cannot be reduced below 170%. So you'll have the full use of this the entire 4 seconds. Again, I wish this was kind of on a similar cooldown as Death's Advance, because it's on 40. Death's Advance is on 45-second cooldown. I think I would actually probably take this for leveling and stuff if it was on a little bit more shorter cooldown. But as it is, Grip of the Dead is definitely much better, I think, for leveling. Next up, we have Foul Bulwark. In the 75 row, each charge of your Bone Shield increases your maximum health by 1%. With the 15 with the 5 extra from Hemostasis is pretty good, but honestly, every time somebody hits you, it takes a charge off. It doesn't last very long, big in groups. And Morrowind, we can't get max bone shields right off the bat anymore with Morrowind, so it's just not that great right now. Ossuary increases your bone shield, stores up to 5 extra charges, and your magic rune power is increased by 25%. I mean, by 25, not 25%. Ugh. But I am using this right now because of not really the extra bone storage capacity, but the extra runic power by 25. Because with that extra 25, if you're on a rare or something, you can go in and you can do your rotations. You get your rune strike. You keep, you're getting more runes. You get your you get the whole 125 runic power, and you can let off 3 death strikes maxed out with the Hemostasis death strike, and it just completely obliterates things. It's great. Being able to have those 3, just it's really good damage real quick when you need it. Now, sorry, I said Foul Bulwark works the way it works, but it's not that. It's Ossuary. Sorry, and they're both in, so you can't have both. Sorry, brain fart. Next up, we have Tombstone, which is on a 1-minute cooldown. It consumes up to 5 bone shield charges. For each charge consumed, you gain 6 runic power and absorb damage equal to 6% of your maximum health for 8 seconds. Now, this would be really nice if it was in a different row. Like if Foul Bulwark and Tombstone was in a different row, I might actually take both of them because I think that could work out really well. As be it for leveling, I do think Ossuary is the best just for not really the bone shield stuff, because you don't keep charges very much. They get, especially when you're pulling a lot of things, it doesn't, your bone shield charges do not stay up. This I can definitely see for dungeon raiding and stuff like that. I'll probably end up using this. Just for an extra cooldown. Okay, Voracious is in a 90 talent row. It's a passive. It makes your death strike grants you 50% leech for 6 seconds. This is ridiculous. This is great. This is absolutely great. It heals for a good amount. The amount of leech you get and everything. It's really good. Maybe even a little too good. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets nerfed down to maybe, I think it'd be okay at between 10 to 12%, or maybe even 8 to 12%, something around along that line. I think would be really good. Excuse me, but the 15% is wow. It's quite nice. Next up, we have Bloodworms, which basically more or less do exactly what they do on live. I played with them for quite a while, just going around killing things and stuff, and they're not bad. I do prefer the 15% leech from the Death Strike, though. Mark of Blood, I think this would be great. This will be great for boss fights and stuff like that. But for just living out in the world and doing quests, I don't see a reason to have it. In the last row, at 100, we have Purgatory, which basically does the exact same thing it does on live. Then we have Red Thirst, which reduces the cooldown of vampiric blood by 1 second per every 10 runic power spent. Honestly, for leveling, for dungeons and stuff, definitely probably Purgatory, maybe Red Thirst, but honestly, for leveling, Bone Storm is ridiculous. It costs 10 to 100 runic power. It's on a 1-minute cooldown, and it does shadow damage, almost 400 shadow damage every second, and it heals you for 3% of your maximum health every time it deals damage. It lasts 1 second for every 10 runic power spent. That means if you have 100 runic power, it'll last for 10 seconds, and so that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of damage for all the enemies, and that's every enemy that you have. That means if you have 8 enemies, it's doing damage to 8 enemies. But it also means that it's healing you 3% of your maximum health every time it deals damage to each of those 8 enemies. See what I'm getting? That's a huge amount of health back right there. It's great. Like I said, I went through and I pulled, I think, like 8 or 9 things, and sat there and just got my runic power up to about 60 to 80, whatever I could do real fast, because I am taking damage. And I would hit this, and my screen's flashing red because I'm getting ready to die. And you hit this, and your health just goes bloop 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 back up. It's freaking great. This matched with the Voracious and the Hemostasis with your Death Strike, it all synergizes really well to keep you alive and make you damn near unkillable. Except for maybe that one time that I walked into I was going to go kill a rare, but apparently it was a skull rare and not a 110 rare like the rest of them. He's just walking around. I just thought, okay, I was going, and it's another rare to kill. And yeah, it didn't work out. It didn't work out at all. But that's what I'd say about the talents. Overall, the spec itself different from live. It definitely is different from live, but it's actually pretty damn good. I'm having a hard time believing some of this stuff's it's actually going to go live in the expansion the way it is. I do definitely see them having to tune some of this down. I don't think they're gonna let us keep the 15% leech. And Bone Storm, I think the healing's gonna be nerfed. I think maybe 2% or so. Yeah, I just don't think that. I just don't think a few of these things, they're definitely going to have to tweak the numbers, I think. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to let this stuff go live. If they do, I'll be ecstatic, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that's all I want to say. Thank you all. If you like this, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you all very much. Have a good day, and as always, I will see you next time.